For years, there has been rumor out there that there's a clip, there is video of Donald Trump using the N-word about a contestant from his time on The Apprentice. And now we're getting confirmation of who has said it and that their non-disclosure agreement that they signed. When you work on a show, usually you sign those kind of documents so you don't hurt the reputation of the show or whatever. A lot of times these documents, these non-disclosure agreements, they sunset. There's an expiration date on them. And apparently that is the case with this particular document, this particular agreement with this particular producer. And he has gone to Slate and written an article, a wide-ranging, lengthy article that I will link below. And I encourage you to go read every word of this. One, just from an informational standpoint, it gives you kind of an idea, a glimpse in, a view of how they run reality TV shows and how they make people who just aren't the best among us, how they make them look good, up to and including Donald Trump. That's not the element. I'm going to read a brief little bit from this that tells the worst part of this, that there have been Republicans who have denied the existence of this. The fact that it hasn't surfaced yet has been evidence to some. It's not evidence, but it's been proof positive that it doesn't exist, because if it did exist, it would already be out there. This is damning. This guy's putting his name and his reputation on the line, and my guess would be we're gonna get the tape. I don't know how. I don't know if he has a copy of it or not, but he's making his views public. He's making his version of what took place public, and it's a big deal. Here's the headline from Slate. The Donald Trump I saw on The Apprentice. For 20 years, I couldn't say what I watched the former president do on the set of the show that changed everything. Now I can. I'm not going to read everything. I'm just giving you the context here. The Apprentice was an instant success in another way, too. It elevated Donald J. Trump from sleazy New York tabloid hustler to respectable household name. In the show, he appeared to demonstrate impeccable business instincts and unparalleled wealth, even though his businesses had barely survived multiple bankruptcies and faced yet another when he was cast. By carefully misleading viewers about Trump, his wealth, his stature, his character, and his intent, the competition reality show set about an American fraud that would balloon beyond its creator's wildest imaginations. I should know, says the author and former producer of the show here, I should know I was one of 4 producers involved in the first 2 seasons. During that time, I signed an expansive non-disclosure agreement that promised a fine of $5 million and even jail time if I were to ever divulge what actually happened. It expired this year. And that expiration date couldn't come at a better time when we presently reside on the precipice, on the brink of authoritarian disaster for the United States and our democracy. Now, the following 3 or 4 brief paragraphs, they go through and explain the moment, explain the scenario where Donald Trump on camera, in consultation with producers about who he was going to pick to win or whatever, used the N-word in relation to one of the contestants. Kwame Jackson, I believe his name. Was never a watcher of the show, so I don't know the cast of characters here, but we can choose to trust the word of this particular producer or not. Here's what he says. We lay out the virtues and deficiencies of each finalist to Trump in a fair and balanced way. But sensing the moment at hand, Kepcher, I guess another producer, sort of comes out of herself. She expresses how she observed Jackson at the casino overcoming more obstacles than Rancic, I guess that's another contestant, particularly with the way he managed the troublesome Omarosa. Jackson, Kepcher maintained, handled the calamity with grace. Quote, I think Kwame would be a great addition to the organization, Kepcher says to Trump, who winces while his head bobs around in reaction to what he is hearing and clearly resisting. Quote, why didn't he just fire her, Trump asked, referring to Omarosa. It's a reasonable question, given that this is the first time we've ever been in this situation. None of this is something we expected. Quote, That's not his job, Beinstock says to Trump. That's yours. Trump's head continues to bob. I don't think he knew he had the ability to do that, Kepcher says. Trump winces again. Yeah, he says. Now listen. This is going to give the account using the substitute for the word that is a vile, racist, hateful, bigoted word. N-word is what we have here. What was said on tape was the actual word. Donald Trump, in company of producers and other human beings, said the word with a mic on, with the camera on, according to this account. Quote, yeah, Trump says to no one in particular, but I mean, would America buy an N-word winning, unquote. Winning the competition. Would America be okay? Would they be on board? How would they feel about a black person winning? Except he uses vile racist language, which causes the producers and everybody in the room to squirm with uncomfortability. Kepcher's pale skin goes bright red. I turn my gaze toward Trump. He continues to wince. He is serious, and he is adamant about not hiring Jackson, who he had just referred to with vile racist epithets. Beinstock does half a cough, half laugh, and swiftly changes the topic or throws to Ross for his assessment. What happens next, I don't entirely recall. I am still processing what I have just heard. We all are. Only Beinstock knows well enough to keep the train moving. None of us think to walk out the door and never return. I still wish I had. Beinstock and Kepcher didn't respond to requests for comment. I guess they reached out, and they are maybe still abiding by an NDA. Maybe they're cowards. We don't know. But there's months before the election, and I am certain we're going to find out. Afterward, we filmed the final meeting in the boardroom where Jackson and Rancic are scrutinized by Trump, who we already know favors Rancic. Then we wrap production, pack up, and head home. There is no discussion about what Trump said in the boardroom, about how damning the evidence was caught on tape. Nothing happens. Now, there are several aspects to this. One, which should be the biggest story of all time here in American election. The problem is that Donald Trump has lowered the bar for what surprises people, what shocks people. No one's surprised by this. No one should be shocked by this. But this should be on the tips and the lips of everyone's tongues. Everyone should be talking about this particular story for days and weeks and months to come. That a former sitting president of the United States who's running for re-election wants to be in office once again, use this kind of language as though it was normal. Having grown up white in the racist state of Idaho, and having been in the Marine Corps even, in mixed company with white Southerners and white Northerners, whatever, there have been occasions where people will say racist shit in front of me, thinking, I guess because I look like a Republican or whatever, that I'm on board, that I agree with those sentiments, that I certainly won't push back. I always do. But this is another one of those situations. This guy has gone his entire life talking like this, no one pushing back because of his power, because of his wealth, because of his notoriety, whatever. It's the same with the grab him by the pussy tape with Billy Bush, who laughs rather than say, whoa, come on, dude. What are you doing here? We need more people to stand up and speak truth to power. And apparently, it's a resource that is not in full abundance, I guess. But this is huge. And now we just need the actual tape to come out. We need some brave soul to give this to the public. Again, my guess would be we will see it now that NDAs are starting to fall away. Now that fear of reprisal, legal reprisal, is falling away, we're going to see it. What do you think? Am I off here? What's my take? How do you rate it, I guess? We can talk about it in the comments. You can also call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054 I would love to hear from you. You can also email me daily at dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this work. For $2 a month, you can help me make these videos. Click the join button below, become a channel member right here on the YouTube. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Both those are great ways to support this work. That's not just for the podcast. Follow me on social media. I am at Dollemore everywhere. And I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.